Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Gerald Richards of 3x5x7, the Business Success Formula. For members of Building Better Business, which you can find us on Facebook, I will be interviewing Uwe Jacobs of Property Friends. On the private side of things, originally Uwe is from Germany and has been in Oz for 30 years, is married, 2 adult daughters, loves cooking, motorbike riding, and, more to the point, property investing. Initially, Uwe had a corporate background of some 25 years in commercial project manager of a 1.2 billion infrastructure project, which took 4 years of his life. He climbed the corporate ladder and realized he was leaning against the wrong wall. He now has a business where he assists busy business owners and professionals to purchase great property investments at wholesale buying power. Uwe has founded Property Friends 13 years ago, and the business is built on 3 fundamentals: trust, community, and progress. Uwe, why and how did you come up with the name for your business?
Thank you, Gerald. Well, look, it was all a matter of bringing across the trust and the relationship aspects that underpin our business. In an ideal world, we only do business with friends. And we wanted to make sure that even in our business name, the relationship that we are looking to create, the long-term relationships, the friendly relationships that we are looking to create, are already displayed in our company name.
And on a private matter, Uwe, the obvious is, why did you come to Australia?
Why did I come to Australia? Well, to cut a long story short, back in 1961, the first part of my family, the brother of my father, came to Australia. It's very rather interesting. The other side of my family, a sister of my mother, also migrated to Australia. So I visited my sister, who was at the time already living here, was in Australia twice on holiday, loved the place, was young, free and unattached in Germany, and just thought I'll give it a go. Tried for 2 years. It can only be a win-win situation. Worst case scenario, I come back after 2 years, having lived in an English-speaking country, seen more of the world. Well, now, 30 years later, I think it's one of the best places in the world to live.
Yes. Now, you mentioned you come out on assisted passage because you said you had to stay 2 years.
No. That was the worst case scenario. If things wouldn't have worked out in Australia, my idea was to give it a go for 2 years, check it out, and if it wouldn't have worked out, I would have gone back to Germany after 2 years. I reckon you need to give things a little bit of time to give it a good go.
Yes. You see, the reason I asked that, from the UK there was assisted passage, and so I came out here for £10, $20. It was,
well, I reckon you were very lucky. I had to pay my whole fare on my own.
Yes. I suppose really we'd better get back to business. Who is your target audience?
Well, really that's the 40-year-old couple that may have 1 or 2 kids in primary school. They're business owners and employing 5 or more people, or management people, all of which would have had their own property for a minimum of 5 years. They're busy building their career or business, and they have worked out that they need to do something about their financial future, that they need to have an alternative to their current income, but don't have the time or the knowledge to look into that, and are happy to find somebody that they can trust to assist them.
People talk about having a USP, unique selling proposition. What's your differentiator?
Well, that's very, very simple. we've been full-time property investors for 13 years, and we don't suggest anything that we wouldn't be prepared to do ourselves. So in very simple terms, if it ain't good enough to us, it ain't good enough to talk to anybody in our team about it.
So really, you're putting your money where your mouth is.
Funny that, yes, exactly. You know, I find there are too many, let's use an Australian term, galas out there that are not practicing what they're preaching. We've been living our story for 13 years.
Now, with property investment, it is such a broad area. How do you go about it, and what are you looking for?
Great question. Thank you, Gerald. Well, it's really about balance. People generally talk about balance in life, and balance in investing is no different. In my view, there needs to be a balance between the income and the growth of the property. You see, typically there is a seesaw effect between the rental income and the capital growth in Australia. So when one is up, the other one is down. Now, in an ideal world, we would all purchase capital gains properties and just worry about that. The difficulty with that is that there are big negative gears involved the higher you go for capital gain. So what does that mean? That means that I pay thousands of dollars every month for the possibility of a future capital gain. Now, that's okay if you are a very high disposable income earner and you only want to do one property. However, if you want to keep living and or want to build up a portfolio, that system just doesn't work. So too many people believe the marketing hype about negative gearing. Sure, we all like to save tax. However, if this impedes on your lifestyle, if you have to take $500 or $1,000 every month out of your after-tax income, that tends to have a drastic influence on lifestyle, which in my view, and I can't prove that, but it makes sense in my books, is the reason why some 80% of property investors only have one property, because they can't afford anymore. They have worked out that, hey, this is costing me money, this is reducing my lifestyle, why would I do that again? So what we suggest is find an area, find a property where you have a balance between rental income and capital growth. See, the rental income is our short-term income. And if that carries the property with all cost, that's magnificent. But the money is made in the long-term income with its capital gains. And by having a property investment which pays for itself and has the long-term capital gains, we've reduced our risk profile tremendously. So that's what we do. We find areas where the rental income is in balance with the capital growth. You can run the property once it's built and rented at no cost to yourself. You can continue with your normal lifestyle. You take advantage of the tax benefits, and you reap the long-term capital growth rewards. Now that, to me, is a very low-risk strategy, and it works. Just check out our website, www.propertyfriends.com.au. Have a look at the testimonials. It's not easy in the investing area to have people even with video testimonials. And heck, there's telephone numbers, there's email addresses, they can all be verified. So, yeah, we've got the runs on the board. We've been doing it 13 years. We have been around the block a couple of times.
Well, you must be doing something right if you're still in business for 13 years, mustn't you?
Yes, absolutely. I'd like to think so. And we've got a great team of property friends around us, and that's a lot of fun.
And do you solely concentrate on homes, or do you go into the commercial with factories?
Great question. Gerald, the whole system that we've set up is tried and tested to be a low-risk profile. I find that when I keep things according to the KISS principle, keep it super simple, things work and things are coming up with a predictable and repeatable outcome. So to answer your question, we simply focus on residential property investment. What I lovingly refer to is the mom and dad type of house, because that's where the biggest number of buyers and sellers are. That's where the biggest numbers of renters are. And the renter is the one that pays the bill. The tenant is the one that is our security for being able to service a mortgage. So we want to be in the area where the biggest number of tenants are, which is your normal mom and dad type of house. So residential property and your average run-of-the-mill, say 3 or 4 bedroom house.
Do you
on a piece of land, on its own piece of land, we don't do body corporates, we don't do apartments, because the body corporate fees usually eat up any profit, and there is a substantial liability issue that is often hidden to people.
Do you concentrate in certain areas? For example, do you only do Melbourne or other cities in Australia or areas in Australia?
Great question. We are professional investors, Gerald. We invest Australia-wide, so we simply go where we get the biggest bang for the buck, so to speak. We are unemotional about the area. See, Gerald, there's no difference when I have a property that is 5 kilometers away and I talk to my rental manager over the phone, to heck, when I've got a property that is 2,500 kilometers away and I talk to my rental manager over the phone. As a professional investor, we are unemotional. I don't need to drive by and check that the lawns are made, that the lawn is cut, that the property looks good. That is the role, and that is what I'm paying the property manager for. In fact, it is often enough better to have the property elsewhere because we are unemotional about it. What does Warren Buffett say? High emotion, low intelligence. So keep the emotion low, keep the intelligence high, and be a professional investor.
Are you following, I'm just thinking of the author's name, Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Is that the...
Robert Kiyosaki? To a degree, Robert Kiyosaki goes more according to the American principle, which is more cash flow properties. Again, let's keep in mind that if we go too high in cash flow, there is, in all likelihood, little or no capital growth. And if you go to the extreme into mining towns, which can give you terrific cash flows whilst the going is good, they're also very, very risky. So we go with a derivation, with an amendment of Robert Kiyosaki's, where we look for the balance between rental income and capital growth. We want enough rental income that the property pays for itself, but the money is made in the capital growth.
So really it's coming back to what you said originally. It's that balance, isn't it? Capital growth and that rental income.
Absolutely, yes. And that's a matter of researching the right areas, knowing which suburb in the right area and which development or street is the best. And it's about research, it's about knowing the market in intricate detail. That's what's the difference. And that's how we nudge out the last $10,000, and by using wholesale buying power, by being able to do sets of 5 or 10 properties, we get reductions in the purchase price. And heck, Gerald, what's the old adage? The money is made in the buying.
Yes, it is. That's the same with the share market, isn't it?
Absolutely.
On the area of your expertise, what do you see as the greatest challenges and opportunities for us small business owners?
Well, in my view, too many business owners are putting all their eggs in one basket. That means they rely purely on their business, hoping that the business will work out and that it will look after their retirement income when they cash out and when they sell. The strategy, I would say, is very high-risk strategy. Again, diversification, balance. Another famous statement is the ideal world is to have 5 income sources. Well, I don't know too many people that have that, but I know too many people that only have one income source. And if anything happens to that one income source, they're belly up. So the biggest challenge for business owners is if they don't set up a second leg, a second financial leg to stand on. The other challenge is, of course, diverting attention from your main income source. As business owners, we tend to be very busy. We tend to be very focused on what we do, and diverting attention is often challenging. So the opportunity is keep on doing what you're doing, get a trustworthy specialist to assist you in property investment.
You mentioned rental manager. Do you go through estate agents, or you have your own expertise in that field as well?
Another great question. Thanks, Gerald. The issue is we are saying stick to your core expertise. Our core expertise is to find the right area, to find the right property investment. We then set up strategic alliance partners, i.e. companies that we're using ourselves. Remember, we are in the same game. And refer them to our team. Now, I stress the point, there is no commission, no brown paper envelopes or anything that we get out of that. We do it because as a team, we are stronger. So we set up all the services that you may need because we need them ourselves and make them available to you. If you want to use them, that's great. If you don't want to use them, if you have your own rental manager, whatever, that's fine too. It makes no difference to us. The only reason why we are suggesting it's a good idea is we're stronger in numbers.
Well, that makes sense. So you're allowing me, if I feel comfortable with someone I know, to use that person. You're not sort of saying, no, you must go with Uwe Jacobs all the time in certain areas, which I think is good for that flexibility, isn't it?
Absolutely. In fact, if you have established relationships, if you have people that you're working with at the moment, why would you change? If you have why breaking what is working? If it ain't broken, don't try to fix. So the other advantage is that you don't need to set up any special resources. We've got everything available. But if you've got something available yourself and you're happy with that service, use it. Absolutely. See, it makes no difference. There are no financial ties with any of our service providers.
So what advice do you have for us small business owners in this area?
Well, my strong advice is have a second income source, have another source of building assets, diversify. Don't have your financial future just in your business or in your job. Set up a property investment without taking your eye off the ball of your main income source. Stick to what you're doing best and get a specialist to assist you in reaching your goals.
So in a way, I have my primary source where I focus attention, And then dealing with you, it's almost like a passive income, isn't it? Because you're the expert in that area.
Well, yes, to a degree it is that way. It is our task to find the right property investment for you. And we sit down with you and have a detailed discussion, find out where you're at, where you want to go, and then, and only then, do we derive a way of getting there. So it is a very personal thing, and it needs to be considered very well, and it can mean that you keep on doing what you're doing best, and we assist you to get to a second income source or asset base, depending on what you want to achieve.
Well, it seems a very sound approach to getting a better lifestyle, isn't it?
Well, that's what it's all about. Take the uncertainties out of life or minimize them as much as you can. Take the risk profile down and have fun.
Uwe, just on the lighter side, you said having 5 sources of income would be good. Would sending your children out to work count as, say, 5 sources if you have a big family?
Well, if you're okay with that sort of thing, I have heard of children sponging off the parents. I have not heard very often of the parents sponging off their children. Now, more to the point, I'm a big believer in taking responsibility for thyself. So, no, but good idea.
Uwe, I want to thank you so much for sparing the time to explain what you do and your tips on building better business. I'm sure some members would like to contact you, so how best can they do that?
Well, one is our email address. It is info@propertyfriends.com.au. Any details that you want to have a look at on our website is www.propertyfriends.com.au. So that's with the plural as propertyfriends.com.au. And our telephone number is 03-9758-5331.
So the email is info@propertyfriends.com.au. Your website is www.propertyfriends.com.au. And if they don't want to wait, they can contact you by phone, 03-9758-5331.
Absolutely correct. There is a free report on the website that is very, very informative, so people can have some upfront information as well. And if you want to make it fast, get started right away, give us a call. That's terrific. Thank you.
Uwe, thank you so much for your time. On behalf of the members of Building Better Business, which you can find us on Facebook, this is Gerald Richards of 3x5x7 signing off and wishing you every success in your business.